Vivani makawe, vivani gemavana bezugu, vivani masosha, vivam tomnyama, vivani makawe, vivani gemabutwe siswe, vivani matoda, vivam tomnyama.
Iwoga Tuba lokufundiswa Frantz Fanon manchas. So, I'm sure you all know about Jamaica, an island in the Caribbean where Bob Marley came from, and if you're a little bit older you might also remember Peter Tosh. The Caribbean is a group of islands in the ocean. It's not too far from America. In 1492, close to 600 years ago, Europeans arrived there and they slaughtered the indigenous people. I won't know about these two islands in the Caribbean because they were colonized by the French and the people there speak French. One is Martinique and the other is Haiti. In the Caribbean were places where in the 1600s, in the 1700s, right through to the 1800s, the different European powers, England, France, Spain, the great powers of that time, started to bring people from and enslave to grow sugarcane in these islands and to grow the sugarcane and to cut the sugarcane. Sugarcane at that time was something that made people very, very rich. And if you go to Europe and you see these big buildings in European cities and all this wealth, a lot of it comes from these islands and the sugarcane grown by enslaved people from Africa. The slaves started a revolution. They fought for 12 years for their freedom. It was a war for 12 years. They defeated the French, they defeated the English, they defeated the Spanish. In 1804, they won their freedom, and Haiti became an independent, free country run by people who had been slaves. It was the first black republic in the modern world. Revolution, slavery started to become illegal in one country after the other. That was the end because the slave owners had been defeated at war. The Europeans still wanted to grow sugar, so they started to bring in indentured workers from India. People in India who had lost their land as a result of colonialism and didn't have any way to make a living. The same as what happened here in this part of South Africa later. So they brought in workers who were not free. It was not slavery. It was like it had a limit. You weren't an indentured worker for your whole life, but it was not free either. In 1925, two of his grandparents were people who descended from African people who'd been enslaved. One was the descendant of indentured workers from India, and one was a descendant of the white people that lived in Martinique. All got this pamphlet in your bag. It gives you an introduction to Fanon, an overview of his thought, and you can see that picture there. That's Frantz Fanon. You can have a look, you can see what he looked like. Time to talk about them all. But one thing I want to make very clear is that Fanon's politics is that of a humanist. Of course, he doesn't say Ubuntu because, he's from Martinique.
So, ipolitiki ka Frantz Fanon yayikhuluma ngobuntu. Fanele siqonde ngoba umongameli njengoba echaza ukhona ipolitiki yamaqembu mase kuba khona ipolitiki esiphila ngayo yomphakathi. Laso esikhuluma ngezinto edinga thina njengabantu. So uFrantz Fanon ukhuluma ngepolitiki yobuntu.
When he was 27, he wrote this book. It's called Black Skin, White Mask. This book is a little bit about the Caribbean, but it's mostly about the experience of being a black person in a space that is dominated by white people and in which there's a lot of racism. When he was qualified as a doctor, He got a job working as a doctor in Algeria in North Africa, which was a French colony. And he worked as a doctor for a while. But then a revolution began. The Algerians organized and began a revolution against French colonialism.
So,